I'm Alex West Steinman, co-founder and CEO of the Coven. I kind of oversee management and operations and vision of the space. The Coven is a community and workspace for women and non-binary folks. We have a location here in Minneapolis and are quickly expanding to 5 locations through the middle of the country. We cater to women and non-binary folks who are in transition in their lives. So they're folks who are starting a business, they're folks who are growing in their careers at a corporate office, they're folks who are remote workers and who need a space to work. So we have a really diverse membership from a socioeconomic standpoint, from a racial standpoint, from an industry standpoint. Really mimics the community that we serve in the Twin Cities. We really went to the community and asked them, what would you want out of a space like this? They wanted accessible space, they wanted accessible memberships, they wanted opportunities to grow in capital and opportunities for education in different areas, and that's really what we've been able to cater to. And being a small business, we're flexible enough to say yes to a lot of those things and really validate everybody's identity no matter what they're looking for in the space.
My name is Liz Giel, and I'm a co-founder and the Chief Growth Officer at the Coven.
Hi, my name is Bethany Iverson, and I am a co-founder and Chief Operating Officer at the Coven. A part of being a founder of a startup is that you truly do a little bit of everything, which is actually really fun, but it is a bit of the day-to-day operations of the space, also managing the long-term vision of who we are and who we'll become. A part of the day-to-day role is that it's always evolving, which again, for entrepreneurs, it's part of the excitement, but you gotta be ready for it.
As Chief Growth Officer, what that is intended to capture is really focusing on marketing and sales and partnerships. So looking toward the future, what are the types of things that we need to be thinking about and operationalizing as we expand our presence both in the Twin Cities and beyond? And how do we make sure that that message is properly communicated and relevant for the communities that we're trying to engage with our business?
We actually decided to crowdfund our membership to prove concept before we even opened. So we raised $350,000 on a platform called I Fund Women, and we were able to raise the capital we needed to open our doors and sustain membership over the course of the year. So we actually opened with 150 founding members, and now we have over 400 members. So we've grown really quickly, we've grown really intentionally, and our space is really fueled by the community. And so we're able to say that because our founding memberships, which we crowdfunded, were all funded by people in the community who believed in this vision before we even had a space to show them.
So we have a lot of folks who are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs who are starting their own business. And those folks would come here to find, maybe to find a co-founder or to find a like-minded community of other rad women and non-binary folks who are building something from the ground up. We offer a ton of programming and resources to help founders get their ideas off the ground.
Many of our members have met business partners, have met investors. You could be a community organizer sitting next to a VP at a bank and start plotting your benevolent takeover of the world, and we're happy to be the facilitators of that.
I think what we've heard a lot about being a member at the Coven is that this provides a bit of an oasis from day-to-day life. So our vision was to create a space that is a refuge for folks that often don't have spaces designed for them.
I mean, a lot of the reason that we made this space was because we could so deeply relate to that feeling of like, where can I just go and be with my people and be seen and have my stories be believed or whatever it might be. And so we really always strive to create that here for our members.
We believe that joy is an act of resistance and that you can be angry and joyful at the same time. And so we see a lot of people who come into our space carrying a lot of baggage, carrying whatever is with them from the world, and they get to experience joy here and happiness here and get a chance to be any version of themselves in this space.
Our business is a for-profit business with a social enterprise at its heart. And so we're always thinking about not only like how do we run our business to be profitable, but also how do we help our members run their businesses to be profitable, and how do we help them make the most that they can, both in finance and just feeling personally fulfilled.
So we have a 5-for-1 community funded membership. So for every 5 paid members, we gift one to somebody in the community. And we prioritize folks from traditionally underrepresented communities. So that's people of color, that's folks from the LGBTQ community, differently abled folks, veterans, immigrants, anybody who has been left on the margins for the most part.
And that is a really important way for us to give back. And I guess we just see it as like the obvious thing to do, because what we're not interested in doing is just replicating existing systems of privilege and access and exclusivity that we see, in so many other spaces in our lives. So we're intentionally trying to create a community space that feels equitable, that feels fair, where lots of different backgrounds and stories are represented and seen.
We have a beautiful space to work. It kind of starts with the physical nature of it. So it's all open to women and non-binary folks. Members at different levels can bring in different amounts of guests throughout the week. We have a co-ed conference room called the Michelle Obama Conference Room, which we're in right now. It's pretty beautiful. We have 2 levels here, so one level has the kitchen, and it's really a part of our community space. And so that is where folks tend to gather. It tends to be a real a space for folks to connect and meet with different people. That's where we have all of our free snacks, which folks are really excited about. They're provided by The Wedge, which is our local co-op in town. On our 3rd floor, so the floor right below us, is our more library vibe space. So it's a little bit quieter down there. It's a great place to do some focused work. We have extra monitors for people. We have phone booths to take private phone calls, which are free to use and reserve. We have a parent and prayer room, which allows for folks to practice, to have prayer practice, to meditate, and to nurse or pump. We have our beauty bar, our self-care room, which is stocked with products for every single skin and hair type, everything from straight hair to curly hair. So in that area, we do acupuncture, we do massage therapy. It's got a beautiful makeup light, great for selfies, but also if you're getting ready for your day or your night. We have a shower down there as well, which a lot of members use as they transition through their day, either coming to or from a workout, or before they head home or start their day.
Well, when we first started looking for spaces, we got a lot of questions around if it was a daycare. So I think, some of the reasons that we wanted to become founders and entrepreneurs ourselves was to reframe a lot of the stereotypes about the types of businesses that women can create. So we often talk about the Coven as a for-profit business because that's what it is, but it's also important for us to make the point that we feel that equity and profitability are not at odds with one another. We think that we can create impact within our community or within many communities, but also be successful entrepreneurs, and those 2 things aren't necessarily at odds with one another. And so we felt that it was important for us to really sort of live through this mantra of being very successful business owners and maybe even redefining a bit what it looks like to be an entrepreneur in this country.
Did you tell people when they asked if it was a daycare, like, it's a daycare but for badass grown-up women?
I didn't get that question myself, but I know.
For badass grown-ups. But yeah, like a daycare.
It's a good, it's a good answer.
One of the things that we've learned is the importance of modeling behavior for other people to imitate. And what we have found is that we can pay attention to what other women, some of our heroes, are doing, and start to kind of imitate their behavior, right? In this kind of fake it till you make it approach. And then we've started hearing the ways that we do that for folks who we would never have imagined that we were an inspiration to. And I think what we've seen is just the way that we can be a model for others is super powerful and a really, really important part of our journey that probably wasn't in our heads when we were coming up with the idea for the business, but we've started to realize how critical it is to not only our success, but the success of generations of women to come after us, which is cool.
We support each other as friends first before we, go for business ideas. We know that with the rapid growth and expansion that we're planning, that can take a toll mentally, emotionally, physically on a lot of us, and we're trying to find ways to find some respite between each other. The good news about having partners is you can lean on each other when you need to take a break. But when you're doing really meaningful work that you truly believe in and that is really yours or the community's, it's not hard to do the work. So it feels like my life's purpose is to do this work, and my family gets to be a part of that, and my work gets to be a part of my family. So it's kind of all intermingled into one big messy ball, so it's hard to say that there's like this work-life balance line. It never turns off on either side, but I get to say that this is all a part of my life's mission.
Well, I guess what I would tell others who are aspiring to own a business is to get comfortable not having all of the answers and just embracing the reality that you're always going to feel this small sense of you really have no idea what you're doing. But you do, and you need to stop and acknowledge that you are creating the necessary milestones to be successful and really write this new chapter of your own story.
We were told early on that the middle of anything looks like failure, and I think that that is such critical advice, because you'll start something and feel like, oh my gosh, this is the best idea, and everyone's gonna love it, and people will immediately get it, and I'll make money, and all of those things. And then you start to find out the further in you get, the harder it becomes. And so you can always get out of the middle of it if you just keep plowing ahead. So that was such important advice for us to hear early on. And then I think the other thing is, like, ideas that are huge feel oftentimes unachievable because of their size. But taking those little steps bit by bit is a really important part of, like, achieving the bigger idea or the bigger dream, and not getting overwhelmed by the size of an idea early on, I think, is really important.
The biggest question I get from people is, how did you get the courage to take a leap? And for me, it was scarier to stay in the position I was in than it was to take a leap. And so if you can look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself that question every single day of, what is the worst case scenario for me? And if it's not death, you could probably take the leap. For me, it was all about moving closer to my mission and my purpose in life. And I had found that through the work with my three co-founders. And so I've been really strategic about doing more things that take me towards that mission, which is economically empowering women. And so if you have a purpose or a mission statement, do little things every single day to lead you down that path, and eventually it'll become really clear. It'll snowball into something bigger that you can maybe leave your career or start something new or do something on the side. But it doesn't take a huge leap out of a career to start making an impact in other people's lives or change your own life.
Just keep swimming.
I love that. Please include that. Just keep swimming.
Oh, thanks.
Nailed it.